I was born into a world where a woman's submission was sealed before she could even speak. We lived in the shadows of men, locked inside this cage of compliance. Then one day I heard him, Paul. His words shattered every chain that they had placed upon me. He spoke of a love that made me tremble with a deep remembrance. I couldn't pry myself away. I sat on the windowsill listening to him for days. This totally enraged my mother and my fiancé, who begged me to stop. But their voices were drowned by the truth that was ringing in my heart. Paul told us about a love that they couldn't tax, and so the guards dragged him through the dusty streets, calling him a rebel. I found him later in prison, holding his hands through the black metal bars, telling him, "I will cut my hair off and I will follow you wherever you go." My bribed visits brought an overwhelming shame upon my family, and so they sentenced me to be burnt at the stake. As the scent of oil-soaked wood began to fill the air, I felt this undeniable tightness in my chest. A cloud of sheer panic began to slowly suffocate me, and my hands were gripping on to nothingness. So I started to pray. Not begging, not pleading, but courting, choosing to trust in the unseen. The fire began to coil and writhe as though it were a serpent, and the crowd gathered in anticipation. I handed my fear of death fully over to the divine. I let go. Something instantly shifted. God surrounded me like a shield. The sky then exhaled. It was a single droplet at first, and then another, fully extinguishing the flames. To surrender is not to fall, but to rise. Weightless, declared untouchable, I was then free to follow Paul into the unknown. In the next city, a nobleman of great recognition forcibly mistook my body as his to claim. He pushed me to the ground, lifted up my skirt, and for a second, I totally froze. Then I picked up a piece of basalt rock, swinging and striking him in the forehead. Yet I was called a criminal and sent to my death, stripped naked, with just the faint splatter of his blood on my face. I was thrown into the arena where wild beasts began to circle me. They unleashed a lioness to tear me to pieces, the crowd howling for blood and her golden eyes meeting mine. Yet she chose to lay at my feet. A pool of water then called out to me, whispering the promise of a rebirth. "The power to begin again lies within," she told me. As I stepped in, the waters wrapped around my body, and I handed my heart fully over to God. I baptized myself right then and there. Just as I did, lightning shattered the heavens, wiping away any doubt from those who watched on. The women in the stadium stood, throwing rose petals and cardamom, calling out my innocence. I spent the rest of my days living in alignment with God. I never did get married. It's not that I rejected love. I just found the highest form of it. I needed nothing else. Some people have called me a saint, a martyr, a goddess. I am purely a woman who just chose to believe. Goddess stories are timeless, and they awaken something within us all. I invite you to be part of the expansion of this channel by leaving a comment